How's it going, Bills fans? Lance Nelson here, president of Built In Buffalo. To my left, Scott Cass, and to my right, a special guest, intern Rob Lamka, here with us. And glad to have you, Rob. Normally, Shoop is in your spot, and he's not here tonight, so I'll let you go first. Say what's going on this week. How you feeling on a Thursday night before a Sunday at 1 p.m. kind of game?
I'm feeling way better than I did at the game on Sunday. I can tell you that. As soon as that fourth quarter hit, everything changed though. So feeling good this week. The vibes are strong all the way through. So we'll see what happens. But yeah.
Yeah, Sunday was definitely a long day for the both of us.
All day
Rob
for
came on.
you.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah. Well, let's see. How was your day, Scott?
I had a great Sunday. I woke up at 3:30 a.m. in Cancun, hopped on a 6 a.m. flight to Buffalo, and went to the game. And there were times where I was sitting there saying, "Why the hell did I do this to myself?" They made it all worth it in the end.
Absolutely. I tied Scott's shoe on Sunday at the tailgate. It was a great time. Had by all at the Monster Energy tailgate. Presented by 716 Barbershop at the Big Tree Inn. So tonight's wing night if at the Big Tree Inn. If you're still looking for something to eat, head on over to the Big Tree Inn for wing night tonight, and we'll be good to go. So every home game will be there at the Big Tree, partying with 97 Rock and Water Buffalo Club 716. Make sure to check that out. And Monster Energy is the official energy partner of Built In Buffalo. All right, I guess that's sort of our reaction to the game on Sunday. Let's just kind of go in, Scott. Who impressed you and who didn't? And then if you want to react any further to the game Sunday than what you've already done, please do so at this time.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the comeback Sunday was awesome. All three of us stayed the whole time. I know there's some people who can't say that, but that's how it goes. The game wasn't looking too great. We were looking pretty dead until they weren't. But I was really impressed by Keon Coleman. All the talk was this offseason and training camp, how he took the next step, how he looked awesome. He put on 10, 15 pounds of muscles. He was faster. He was looking better in his routes. And he's like, oh, we'll see as the season goes on. And we will. But like he looked like a different guy in week one. Like he was getting separation. He was winning routes that he didn't win last year. He would have been nice if he had the contested catch on the 2-point conversion in the end zone, but I hate that play call anyway, so it's not his fault. He did an awesome job of kind of going off script. And with Keon Coleman, especially with a quarterback like Josh Allen, even though his route was over, the play wasn't over for him. He did a really good job of being quarterback friendly. He had that one great catch along the sideline where his route ended, 5 seconds ago. But Josh Allen created space and was able to find him. He got open. Same thing on the tip touchdown. Like his route was in the middle of the field, but he just kind of flowed with Josh. And when you do the right thing, the ball's going to find you. And that's exactly what happened. So I was really impressed with how he looked kind of on schedule, but even more impressed with how well he improvised. I thought it was great to see that in week one, and hopefully that continues while the season goes on. This is kind of a cop-out one. I feel like everybody could say it, but it was just really disappointed with Taylor Rapp. He was kind of supposed to be the calming presence of the safeties with Cole Bishop. Obviously, Cole Bishop started a few games last year, but this is the first year he's, the guy. But Rapp all night took bad angles on Derrick Henry. Like, you've played him how many times? You know how fast he is. You shouldn't be running straight at him for your position. Like, you got to take a better angle and not get beat down the sideline, which happened to him a few times. He looked lost in coverage a few times, and this is his third year in more or less the same defense. So mental errors that he was having, he shouldn't be having. Like, again, I've said this before, if you're in the right place and you don't make the play, that's fine. But if you're in the wrong place and the play goes where you were supposed to be, that's not fine. Mental errors we can't have. So gonna need him see him clean that up. And I think Cole Bishop played better than, I don't know if we expected, because I expected him to be fine. You didn't really notice him watching the game, and that's a good thing. But Taylor Rapp, you definitely noticed. So really impressed by Keon, not so impressed from Taylor Rapp, and I want to see a hell of a lot more from him on Sunday.
Yeah, Rob, do you have anybody that was impressive to you and anyone that sort of stood out as a disappointment?
I would say by far Keon Coleman was the biggest surprise for me. I mean, going into last year's draft process, Keon was not one of the guys I highlighted. I really, as soon as he ran that 40, he was off everything. Um, but he really shocked me at points last year, especially that Seahawks game where he was just starting to find himself. And I think Sunday, hopefully, is a sign of things to come for him. He was torching zone coverage in the fourth quarter. Again, with exactly what you said, when Josh is on scramble drills, that is his guy. It honestly seemed like Josh locked onto him and just him on those scramble drills, which is a huge thing to see. And as soon as you have chemistry between those two, I mean, they were lights out. It seemed like every single ball was going to Keon and he was catching it and he was wide open. It didn't matter. He made Malachi Starks look like not a first round pick at all. He was absolutely torching him. So I was honestly super shocked by Keon. Despite even the separation numbers, he looked incredible. So that's something I'm really excited to see going forward. And of course, just like you said, Taylor Rapp, probably one of the worst players on Sunday. He's that run stopper. He's who you expect to get in the backfield to stop Derrick Henry, and he couldn't do that at all. I don't know if he was playing off of an injury we don't know about. I don't know. He just looked scared to hit almost. And another guy that I haven't seen highlighted at all this week, I don't know how, Terrell Bernard did not look like himself at all in the run game. He's usually a pretty splash guy in the run game. I didn't see much from him. That's something that's a little concerning, but I mean, do I really expect teams to drop 40 points on us every week? Absolutely not. So just looking for a little bit more improvement on that defensive side this coming week.
Yeah, I'm going to start backwards here. Give you the bad news first. Is the sort of the defensive line. I kind of expected some things out of the gate to not go super well. Baltimore's obviously pretty good up front, and Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are very difficult pair to stop with the different things where Lamar can do the read option with Henry and things like that. So it's not easy, but I thought, Bosa had some contains that he blew. The rookies inside weren't as good as I'd hope. And I know week one's tough to really ask them to do too much, but I just kind of hoped for a little bit more from them, if I'm being honest. And then, just not a great showing until fourth quarter. They buckled down and really showed up. And I think sort of the veterans got more run there and the young guys stopped playing as much. So on offense, though, and what really impressed me was Dalton Kincaid. That touchdown catch to open it was really nice, and good to see him hanging on the ball. I know last year we saw him drop one at the last play of the game, so that's kind of the taste in our mouth from last year. But this year comes in and makes a huge catch right away and shows some life. I think that's really important for the third-year tight end. And then James Cook, I think one of the things I talked about last week going into this game was that James Cook was going to be more of a presence in the pass game, and he broke off a huge chunk play there. Wish he would have scored. All the people that had James Cook 2+ touchdowns probably wish he would have scored on that one too. But
the people who had Josh Allen 2+ touchdowns didn't.
Yeah, exactly. We ended up getting the end zone, so it didn't really matter. But James Cook for me was good enough. I know he had nearly 100 yards all purpose. So I believe it was 94 or something like that. So good game for those two. Good start to the season. Obviously, Keon was very impressive on that touchdown he caught off the Dawson Knox deflection. That was really nice to see as well. Overall, impressed that the Bills showed enough moxie to stay in the game and fight back and come back with 7:16 left in the fourth quarter, which was pointed out by our owner Dave Myers. So that's a pretty cool. That 7:16 on the clock in the fourth quarter, the Bills really turned it on and started their march back. So
we have to mention Ed Oliver as well, just because no one did.
We are going to mention Ed Oliver. Don't you worry.
All right, he wasn't anybody's most impressive, so I'm saying he was good.
Well, there's another segment especially just for him, so just chill. Bills added a new punter, Cameron Johnston, this week, and then also put Matt Prater on the 53-man roster officially. So give me your quick thoughts on the punter and Matt Prater. and then we'll go into the next topic after that once we get some quick thoughts on just Johnston and Prater initially.
Hopefully we don't notice him. Hopefully we don't notice either of them. Hopefully they just both make their kicks, hold the ball well for the kicks, and we don't have to punt as often. So kickers should be, in the words of Ed Orgeron, former LSU coach, make the kick, get the F off the field.
Yeah, I saw Robbins was by far the last in EPA week 1, and I'm sure that was – it's pretty funny. As soon as that graphic dropped, like an hour later, he was cut. Like an hour later. I don't know if you guys saw what he threw up on Instagram after he got cut, the Aaron Rodgers running out of the tunnel with the flag. That was hilarious. Obviously hoping he gets a job somewhere else. It just didn't work here, but I'm really excited. Johnston has a lot of experience punting in some pretty significant games. He was on obviously the Eagles and the Steelers. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about him. I know he had like 51 yards of punt last year. He only had a few punts, but I always look for that average, like anything over 46.5, probably I would say is the mark you want to be at. He's definitely over that. So, I mean, not too much you can say on him. It's not like you're bringing in an all-pro or anything, but I mean, if he's a good holder, I'm not going to complain.
Absolutely. I think we all have the same thoughts on both of these guys. Make the field goals and hold the ball so the guy can make the field goals and we'll be happy. Now, the follow-up question to that, do you think Tyler Bass's job is in jeopardy with what we saw from Matt Prater so far? Scott, what do you think about the Tyler Bass's role when he gets back from injury? Is it just see you later, Matt Prater, or is there going to be a little bit more controversy than that?
I don't think his job is in jeopardy just yet. The biggest reason is the contract that he's on. I should have looked at this before, but I didn't. I was ill prepared. I think we can cut him after this year. Don't hold me to that if it's wrong. So maybe like if Prater doesn't miss a kick in the first 4 weeks, like I don't know how you move on from him. I don't know if they just straight up. I don't think we can cut Tyler Bass with salary cap issues, but maybe his just injury never gets better. So I don't think his job is in jeopardy yet. But if Prater doesn't miss a kick, or at least is consistent like he was, I don't know how you move on from him, especially with what we've seen from Bass in years past. Yeah, he was awesome at the end of last season, kicked the 61-yarder, had the longest playoff field goal in Arrowhead history last season. Like he didn't miss in the playoffs, but if Matt Prater isn't missing, I don't know how you bring him back, but who knows? Maybe this is kind of like the perfect situation. Matt Prater, 41 years old, almost as old as Lance. Maybe he gets tired around week 4 or 5, just like normally this is Lance's bedtime. But maybe Prater gets tired, and then when Bass comes back, it's like a relief pitcher. So maybe we got a good thing going.
He's actually 2 years older than me, so there's that.
Oh.
I agree. I am getting tired already, though. It's been a long day. So what do you think about Tyler Bass and the Matt Prater situation there, Rob?
Just looked at the contract. We cannot get out of that at least this year. The dead cap would be a negative $2 million if we cut him almost. So, I mean, we got what, $760K? So that wouldn't work.
Can we cut him at the end of the year?
Definitely at the end of the year.
Yeah,
dead cap would be $2 million, and you say honestly, he's probably getting cut. I would say you would save at least $3 million, $3.5 million. Assuming that works out, but he's already up there in age. I really want to see with Prater going forward in these next few weeks. I want to see his percentage stay. Obviously, what it is 100.
At 100, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me is,
for the record, I too want that.
2 years ago it was at 84.8, and that's not good enough in the NFL. Typically, I don't know what Bass has been hovering around. I'm very curious now. But then he went 6 for 6 last year. So, I mean, if he keeps this up, he's gonna stay on the team, no doubt about it. So we'll see. Right on.
Yeah, Bass the past 2 seasons was 82.8 in both of them. He was 87 the 2 before. If nothing else, he's consistent.
Yeah, Bass had a really good playoff run last year, which kind of erased his regular season woes for me. He didn't cost us anything in the playoffs this past season, and I think that is a plus for me at least. So
the big thing last year was just the 5 missed extra points. That was
sure.
the same number as he had in his whole career going into last year.
Indeed. All right. Well, our intern Rob is going to head backstage here. We're going to bring on another guest here. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes here, Rob, and we'll look forward to popping you back in and out as time permits throughout the remainder of the season. So appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, sir. Mr. Peter DiBiase of NBC Sports. How are we doing tonight, Peter?
I'm doing good. You got interns now?
Yeah, bro.
Emmy-winning Peter DiBiase. Put some respect.
Jeez, I didn't go with the. He didn't even put it in his show display name, so I'm not gonna say it if he doesn't put it there.
I'm not gonna be.
The show display name should just be the whole screen.
I'll be that guy for you.
It might be on my resume and my LinkedIn and my Twitter account and my Instagram account.
Yeah, pump it up.
Yeah,
guys like Joe Budden.
Do people get Emmy tattoos like Olympic rings? Is that a thing?
No, probably not. Maybe if you win an Emmy, like doing like if you're like the executive producer on something like no, but not as a content associate. I don't think you should be getting a tattoo.
I do, but hey, do you think Tyler Bass's job is in jeopardy here? As Matt Prater came in week 1, did a solid job, and we're going to go into some things. I don't want to spend too much more time on a review, but if you have some quick thoughts just about the game from Sunday, go ahead and take this time to make your stake here about last week, and then we're going to directly move into the Jets game.
For Prater, made 2 extra points, obviously hit a 43-yard field goal, and then obviously hit the game-winning field goal, which was probably the easiest kick he had outside of the pressure of the kick, but the actual kick being it.
You could have made that.
Besides whoever didn't block Kyle Hamilton on the play. I would say probably not. I don't think his Bass's job's in jeopardy unless Prater's 8 for 8 and he's kicking 50-yard, 5-yard type field goals. The biggest thing for Prater is, and I know people still say he has a leg, distance-wise. I think we have to see it to believe it at his age. I think he has to prove it at this point that he still has that leg. But if you're not missing extra points and you're making 48 to 52-yard field goals, you're really hard to move on from, right? It's really hard to move on from, and the Bills score a lot of touchdowns, so they don't kick a ton of field goals. But I wouldn't say yes. After one game, ask me in 3 weeks, and Bass is ready, maybe. But this also maybe gives him time to slow play Bass coming back. If Prater is good, and Bass after week 4, when he's technically eligible to come off IR, and he's 50-50, why even for a kicker and how important kickers are, why even rush a kicker back at any point this year?
For sure. If you haven't done so, please like and share this episode and go over to the YouTube page, get in on the conversation, or Facebook. You can get in on the conversation there with other Bills fans. If you're in YouTube or Facebook, please send us comments, and we'd love to interact with you and display your comment on the screen or talk about the topic of your choosing. And we have obviously a show planned here in an outline, which I realize now I never sent to Peter, but anyways, you're going to roll with the questions we give you. It'll be a nice impromptu practice for Mr. DiBiase here.
I wouldn't have read it anyway today. So
Fair enough. All right, injury report here. We're going to go through Benford full, Codrington full, Keon full, Cook full, Jordan Hancock with a shoulder limited. Surprised he didn't play last week and then wasn't on the injury report yesterday, but shows up as limited with a shoulder today. I wonder if that's just sort of a clerical thing. Maybe they meant to put him on yesterday and didn't, or who knows, maybe something happened in practice. But Teron Johnson quad went from a DNP yesterday to a limited today. Knox with a hip, limited both days. Ed Oliver shows up with his DMP today and in a boot. So we're going to talk about that one for sure. Greg Rousseau, knee limited both days. Shaq Thompson, hamstring and hand, did not practice yesterday and limited today. Tre'Davious White, 2 limiteds now, so trending in the right direction for Trey White. Scott, just anywhere you want to go with the injury report, give us a quick thought on it, and whomever you want to zero in on, or if you want to touch on a little bit of each. But I think there is some general soreness at play here, where guys are just getting some time off to rest up some bumps and bruises as well.
Yeah, you hope that's it. And, first game, a lot of these guys didn't play much in the preseason. And even if they did a full NFL game, and especially against the Ravens in that game, you're going to be feeling a little different on Monday than you have after all of training camp. So, but it seems like most guys are on track to play. The only weird one is Ed Oliver, which I'm sure is what we're going to spend the most time on. Was good on Sunday, practice yesterday. It was a full padded practice yesterday. They didn't mention anything yesterday, and then today he was in a walking boot. Did play ping pong, though, so that's important to note.
Playing ping pong and ding dang.
Yeah, hopefully it's just precautionary. Like maybe he rolled his ankle in practice yesterday. It swelled up overnight. They put it in a boot, but we don't really have much information yet. So that's what I'm choosing to believe until I know more. But definitely concerning, especially with how well he played on Sunday and how kind of not well the rest of the D tackles played. And a team like the Jets who run, they're almost like Ravens light with how they play and how they run the ball. So it would be a big loss if he's not out there. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's just precautionary. But yeah, that was surprising to see on social media this afternoon.
Peter?
Yeah, it's the Ed Oliver. It's the Ed Oliver one. And like you said, he had a padded practice yesterday. Wasn't on the obviously injury report yesterday, and he comes up as not even a limited today, a DNP. So he didn't obviously participate at all.
And it was a walkthrough.
And he was in a walking boot. Which the walking boots, like when during training camp and a guy gets carted off, and you think it's like the end of the world, but it's just because the facility is way too far away. And you don't want him walking on it. So the boot doesn't scare me as much as the DNP. The boot doesn't make me feel great, but it also could be precautionary where. Why even risk it if he's going to play Sunday? The biggest question, and I'm not going to speculate, and people on Twitter like to speculate, is
I want you to speculate on this show right now.
Well, did it happen outside of football? Right? Like, did something happen?
Fall off a horse.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Did it happen from the time they left the facility yesterday to the time they got into the facility today? And like I said, I'm not going to speculate that he was on a horse. We know he likes horses. Maybe he slipped in the shower. I don't know. People slip in showers all the time. But it's a little curious to see that he is as a DNP in a boot with not after being a full or not showing up in the practice. And Lance, I think you said it. Maybe they or maybe someone said it. Maybe they forgot to put him on the injury list. That usually doesn't happen in the NFL.
I don't think that flies.
No, I think someone would get fined. The Bills would probably get fined.
I think Vegas have a lot of problems.
Yes, I think you're required to put. I read today you're required to put even if if you talk to a trainer.
That was like Kyler Murray was having stomach issues.
Yeah, if you talk to a trainer that I don't feel great today, they give you something to make you feel better, whatever it is. You're on an injury report. It's just how the business is. Ed Oliver is really important for Sunday. Obviously, I think Greg Rousseau is probably going to be okay. He's limited. Trey White, like you said, is trending in the right direction. Teron Johnson went from DNP to a limited. That's good. Benford, Coleman, all full. Cook being a limited to a full is great news. Obviously, the Bills have to stop the run on Sunday because if the Bills stop the run, then you're looking at a potential blowout win. But the way the Jets stayed in their game, and obviously I think Justin Fields played very well against the Steelers and blew my expectations out of the water, but they ran the ball a ton. They ran the ball 39 times on Sunday against the Steelers for 4.7 yards per carry. If you're not able to stop the run, this becomes a type of game where the possessions are limited, less time for Josh Allen to have the ball, and it's a different type of game that I think the Bills want to play. So obviously we'll see what happens tomorrow. And doesn't McDermott have his little radio show tomorrow morning, like he does his appearance on his WGR? So we'll see what he says tomorrow. I'm assuming that's the first question they ask him, but it's a little concerning that he's a DNP after being full in a walkthrough.
Sure, yeah,
he didn't get hurt in the practice today. So
right. So I mean, I hope it's precautionary as well. I sort of believe it is, and that's I have no way of knowing. So I think we'll see more tomorrow. Unfortunately, that's the nature of this show. Sometimes, is we sort of get these Thursday surprises and need to wait until Friday to get more answers. So without really knowledge of injuries and things like that, I don't pretend to be a doctor here. But we'll see. Hopefully precautionary. And I think the rest of the guys are mainly just sort of soreness and things like that. And we'll see what it means for Hancock popping up with the shoulder. I thought he was ready to go to play week 1, and then they decided he wasn't. And we'll see where that goes from here. I'm kind of hoping to see him out there because I thought he played well in the preseason and earned a spot to where he could contribute. But I'm not sure. That's something that remains to be seen. All right. So last thing before we get to the Jets game is going to be a weekly segment here, and I'm going to have a much prettier graphic moving forward. I just didn't get the time to finish it this week, and I didn't want to put out crappy graphics. So I'm going to wait till it's fully done, and then we're going to roll with that. But this week's 7-1 Slicker of the week, presented by the 7-1 Slicks Barbershop here in Depew, New York, is Ed Oliver. And we talked about Ed's game was a very fruitful game for him in the Bills. Played 34 snaps, had 6 tackles, had a sack, 2 QB pressures. I really enjoyed watching Ed. He seemed like he had a lot of fun out there. He was, whipping the cowboy dance around and things like that. So guys, anything you want to add, go ahead. We didn't get to hit on Ed during the impressive disappointment topic. So give us your shout out here to Ed Oliver and his game as the 7-1 Slicker of the week.
Yeah, Ed was awesome on Sunday. Like, kind of kept us in the game. Had the sack on 3rd down in their first drive, held them to a field goal. If they get a touchdown there, we may not have the opportunity to come back, force the fumble when kind of felt like things were looking bleak. So yeah, Ed was awesome. That's the Ed Oliver we were promised. That's the Ed Oliver, the 5-star recruit. That was the first 5-star to go to a G5 school that he showed at Houston. So assuming this injury doesn't slow him down too much, we have this Ed Oliver all season. We're going to be a dangerous team.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, with the young guys around him and like Deion Walker and TJ Sanders, and who are going to have growing pains. We saw it week 1. They had growing pains. You need Ed Oliver to be the disruptor that the Bills paid him to be last year, that the Bills expect him to be, that he was 2 years ago, to be completely honest with you. He wasn't last year, he was 2 years ago. And PFF is not the end-all, be-all. Obviously, there you can take everything with a grain of salt, as you should do with everything when it comes to this type of stuff. But PFF graded him as the number 1 D lineman this week. They also had him overall as a 92.1 and run defense-wise, 92.7. So, like we just mentioned, the Jets, like the Ravens, run the ball a lot. And Scott said it, Jets are the Ravens light. So you need Ed Oliver Sunday. But yeah, he was tremendous. And like Scott, like you said, if he doesn't punch that ball out, and obviously the Bills don't pounce on it, you guys are probably talking about a loss. So yeah, Ed Oliver was terrific on Sunday.
Would you be talking about it too, since you're here?
Maybe I wouldn't have came on if they lost.
Wouldn't even have come on. Look at this guy. All right. So, again, Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built-In Buffalo, and our partner, 7-1 Slicks Barbershop here in Depew, New York. Go over to the app, The Cut, and then book your cut with Dennis or Matt over there today. And like and share this on Facebook, repost and like on X. Go on over to YouTube, subscribe to that YouTube channel, and then get into the chat on the YouTube channel. You could talk to my mom. She's there. So she says hi to everybody and hi to Peter. So biggest supporter there. Appreciate Mom for coming out. The Bills offense now, top storylines of the week here. The Jets defense always gives the Bills troubles at home. And do you think, Scott, that this year the Jets defense is as strong as past years?
Their defensive line may be the strongest it's ever been. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, so I won't go too far into it. But it certainly didn't look like it in week 1. They were making Aaron Rodgers look like it was 2015 out there. What they put up 34 on him. So I don't know. They might not be. They did lose some guys, like especially in the linebacker room. CJ Mosley is gone. They paid Sauce Gardner. Their D line is really good. But they didn't look as good in week 1 as what I expected. So hopefully that trend continues. But they just always give Josh and the Bills trouble, as divisional games always do. You just know each other so well. So it'll be interesting to see. They're really good at forcing turnovers. They're going to have to take care of the football, but hopefully that them giving up 34 in week 1 is a sign that they're not as good this year.
Their secondary is not as good as it used to be.
Correct.
I think Sauce Gardner graded out as terrific on Sunday. He was terrific. He was a top 5 corner.
He popped up on the injury report though this week
He
as well.
did. He was limited today after being full yesterday, I believe. I think it was full to limited. That's obviously something major to watch. That's even bigger than Ed Oliver popping up on an injury report in terms of injuries. But no, Sauce Gardner is great. I think he's a little overrated, but he graded out great on Sunday, so he was great. Outside of Sauce Gardner, the secondary doesn't really move me, right? Like Brandon Stevens got absolutely cooked, and we saw him twice last year because he was on the Baltimore Ravens. We saw him in the divisional round. He's not good, to be completely frank with you. He did not, obviously, and they also drafted Isaiah Thomas, who did not play a ton on Sunday, even if he did play or not. But Brandon Stevens is not a great corner. And safety-wise, Tony Adams and Andre Sisco.
Don't even start with me, Peter.
Fine. Andre Sisco is terrific. Just he'll be terrible on Sunday, but he could be terrific for the rest of the year. It's not the same secondary. It's not the same linebacking core as it used to be. Their D-line is crazy. I think their edge rushers are crazy. I don't think they're great up the middle. I think they're great on the edge, and that's about it. But secondary-wise, Quinn Williams. I mean, up the middle, outside of Quinn Williams, it's a little
Harrison Phillips.
Yeah,
that's our friend.
Yeah, he is. But no, secondary-wise, it's not. I don't think it's the same secondary we have seen from the Jets in the last couple of years that have kind of given Josh Allen some fits in MetLife. But it's also, look, I know the Jets and Bills know each other. Does Aaron Glenn really know the Bills? He faced him last year, and Josh Allen and the Bills absolutely torched him in Detroit. I know Detroit had an injury-riddled defense, but it's not like Aaron Glenn's been here for 3 years and he knows the Bills. Some of the personnel on the Jets does, but not the staff really when it comes to the Jets.
Yeah, I think the Bills' offense is going to be a little bit better than they started in the first half. I think that comeback really is going to invigorate some of these guys. The offensive line, specifically going up against a Jets defensive line that has given them fits before, I think they come into this one and they have a little bit more on their shoulders here and have a little bit better success. I'm not super worried about Jermaine Johnson, but Quinton Williams always someone that you have to keep an eye on. We'll see what Will McDonald can do on the edge as well. But I think that the Bills should have a decent game here because they can do a lot of different things. We saw their vertical passing game open up a bit towards the end of the Ravens game, obviously by necessity. We'll see how much of that they actually use by choice this week, and I think that's going to be important to see how successful they are. I still like James Cook on the ground this week against the Jets. I think that, again, the offensive line can impose its will sort of early on, hopefully, and get them into a successful position to be able to maintain and do kind of what they'd like throughout the whole game without the Jets defense dictating much. And that's really what the Jets have done in previous games. They've sort of dictated the tempo and sort of dictated what the Bills could do against them. And then, just it results in a tough game overall. So let's talk a little bit about the D-line specifically. What do you think, Peter, you can go first. What do you think the Bills offensive line can, or offense as a whole, can do to combat the Jets defensive line and sort of have success against it?
It's kind of like a strength versus strength, right? Like the Bills offensive line is terrific. They were terrific last year. They were terrific in week 1. The Jets defensive line was good last year. They were great in week 1 this year. So it's kind of it's a strength v strength. The biggest thing for the Bills, obviously, is the biggest thing is to stop the edge rushers. I think that sounds kind of stupid, but I don't think the Jets up front, outside of Quinn Williams, who's a top 5 D tackle, are really loaded up front. I think on the edge, it can definitely get after you. I know they had a ton of sacks. I know Will McDonald had 2 sacks. Obviously, he had 2 sacks. Jermaine Johnson's good. They're good on the outside. Their depth isn't great outside of Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. Like Michael Clemens is the guy that hates Deion Dawkins, so Deion Dawkins might punch him in the face. Tyler Barron's not anything special. I think it's those 2 guys and it's Quinn Williams. So they're really top heavy on the D line. Depth wise, I don't think they're terrific. I do think the Bills O-line can go up against really any defensive line that we see in the NFL. One thing with this, the Jets love to play man coverage, right? So the Jets love to play man coverage. I know this has nothing to do with the D-line, but the Jets like to play man coverage. That allows Josh Allen to run a little more because guys are not sitting in zones. You have DBs with their back turned, linebackers with their backs turned. So I do think if you're the Jets and if you're the Bills, if you could protect Josh Allen a little bit, I think it opens up lanes for him to be mobile and for him to run. So I think it's a strength v strength. I think the Bills last year showed that it really doesn't matter what type of D-line you put up against you. They're going to do a good job to protect Josh. But yeah, Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson are game wreckers, and obviously Quinn Williams is a game wrecker. So Bills have to be careful. I don't think their run defense is anything special. So I do think the Bills can establish a run. Like the run game against Baltimore was not great. They obviously had to go away from it in the second half because they were down points and they needed to score quick. But I do think we might see a little bit more James Cook involved. But then you also could say, did we see too much James Cook involved in the first half of last game? And that's why our offense kind of got a little stalled out at times in that second quarter. So it's a strength v strength. I think it's a fun matchup. It's probably whoever wins that type of matchup probably controls this game.
Yeah, I didn't see. I mean, Jermaine Johnson only had a 6.5% QB pressure rate last week. It wasn't necessarily a game wrecker, but I guess he can.
It's their depth that doesn't concern me. It's it's Will McDonald. It's probably Quinn Williams that are probably
those two are definitely
the two game wreckers. But it's only two guys, so it's not like they're not rolling 3, 4, 5 guys at you that I think can really disrupt the football game.
Yeah, and in years past they had been.
Yes.
Now, they're not as much. So to piggyback off one stat you said, Josh Allen running against man. Last season, he was the number 1 ranked quarterback against man, and that was almost all entirely due to his rushing against man. He was the number 1 ranked rushing quarterback against man defense by a large margin. Passing against man, he was like 10th or 11th. So I think we could see a decent amount of Josh on the ground this week. I know they don't love to do it this early in the season, but if Josh is scrambling, like he's not a guy to not run, to not go take a hit. Even in preseason games, we've seen him take off. So yeah, agree with everything you said. I think they're gonna try to run the ball down their throats. Like both Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, they're both guys who like to get after the quarterback. Like if we kind of run right at them, we can try to get them off their game a little bit, draw them upfield, and then kind of run into where they left. So I think we're gonna try to run the ball, and then with that, obviously establish a play action. They're gonna play man. Josh is gonna buy time. It's a long time to cover when you're covering some of our receivers. When we saw Keon this past week, how great he is when kind of things break down, and Shakir as well. So yeah, I think we're gonna try to run the ball. I do think we'll see more James Cook. Hopefully we see some more out of Ray Davis because he had very, very limited chances last week, but didn't look great with what he got. Ty Johnson did what he normally does with the number of touches that he had. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more James Cook, and maybe the Bills try to control the clock a little bit, keep their defense off the field because obviously it's a week later, but they're probably still a little tired, kind of reeling from the game they played last week. So, a little more ball control.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some creative offensive calls. Some maybe like Elijah Moore gets a handoff or two as well. Just really trying to, like you said, work the clock and control the time of possession and just move the ball meticulously down the field. It never seems to be super high scoring, but I'll still probably take the over, even though Scott's going to tell me not to. So that's the kind of guy I am. But I think that.
They did stop the run well against Pittsburgh last week.
Yeah. They did. They got absolutely such a shootout.
They got absolutely torched in the secondary, but they did stop the run. But the game also, like the Bills game, dictated where you can't really run the ball.
I think they do need to probably focus on that again this week against Buffalo. They're going to try to stop James Cook in the rushing attack, and that's why I said I think some improvisations and things. Joe Brady is going to get creative, and then also you have Josh Allen there to carry the rock as well in his own right. So maybe some more read options where he pulls it from James Cook and things like that can help keep the defensive line off their game and try to make them think too much, and then let the offensive line do what they do and pave the way. So that's I don't know that Pittsburgh's offensive line is quite the run blocking machine that the Bills' offensive line is. So we'll see if they have a little bit more success here this week with the Bills' offensive line. Is there anybody else you want to mention on we kind of touched on who to watch for on the Jets D? Is there anybody else you want to kind of mention? I think really up front, McDonald and Williams are the two guys that I'm going to be making sure the Bills' offensive line can get a handle on.
Quincy Williams is probably the other guy I would say. 6 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss as a linebacker. He had a QB hit. He can disrupt the game up the middle. I would say probably he's obviously Sauce Gardner is obviously the other guy, but I would say Quincy Williams.
Yeah, we'll see. I didn't mention Sauce just because I'm not sure of his status now. I guess you're just a limited practice today. It's not like he did not practice, but we'll see where what that turns into. It's a groin.
But he goes from a practice to not practicing. And also, I know he's a nickel corner, but Michael Carter has been a limited participant in back-to-back days. I'm not saying he won't play, but they might be a little reeling in that secondary. I bet you both play. I would be shocked if Sauce Gardner doesn't play, but it doesn't mean he's playing at 100%. So,
anything else from you, Scott, on the Jets defense or Bills offense?
Yeah, I was gonna say Quincy Williams as well. There's not really a whole lot of other guys that worry me, and yeah, I would echo what you both said. Would be very surprised if Sauce Gardner didn't play because,
A couple of comments from
on
you,
with
bud.
the Borophyll.
You guys have a favorite quote that you heard at all after the game? He's Uncle Bud saying that Prater will never have to buy a beer in Buffalo from the NBC Today host. That's absolutely true. That was a great kick to send the Bills to victory in Week 1. And then he's got another one from Josh Allen. Have a little faith. Well, 4 minutes, 48 seconds left. The Ravens had a 99.1% winning percentage according to ESPN Analytics. You guys have any other quotes that you can remember from last week that maybe stood out to you? I know Josh was a little bit miffed with some of the fans that left early, and that's sort of what you see in that comment about have a little faith. I think that my buddy was jokingly, so me and my friend Matt, we never leave games early, so he was joking like, let's go get some chicken wings, and I gifted him this game as a birthday present for his 40th birthday, and I was like, oh man, I guess I might have to leave early and get him some chicken wings to make up for that, what the game turned out to be. But it ended up being the perfect present as the Bills came back and won, obviously. So anything that you guys saw out there as far as quotes after the game that you liked?
I saw a quote yesterday about, who was it? It was Deion Walker about Ed Oliver. I don't know if you guys saw that. He said,
Yeah, that was the one I was going to say too.
Yeah, you want to, Scott, it's your show. You say it.
No, you're already rolling. Go ahead.
It said, Deion Walker said this about Ed Oliver. Said it did get to a point where on the sideline and TJ Sanders was about to go in, and Ed was like, shakes his head, walked in, and Deion's like, now I see why. So basically, TJ Sanders was going to go into the game. I'm assuming he's talking about at the end of the game. I don't know when he's talking about it, but at some point in the game, TJ Sanders was going to go in the game. Ed Oliver told him to basically F off. I'm going into the game. And Ed Oliver went into the game. So, and now Deion Walker's like, yeah, kind of makes sense. So,
yeah, there was another one I saw of Josh Palmer going up to Khalil Shakir and sometime in the third quarter and was like, hey, like when did like the Bills show up? Like when is the team I've been watching? And Shakir was like, usually like late in the second half, we have 17. And I think that just shows like the same thing with Josh saying have a little faith. Like as long as the Bills have Josh Allen, like the game's never over. They always
Bosa also said it felt like a Super Bowl. I think he said I
didn't love that one.
No, I don't love that one. But
I think it's a credit to the Bills fans too, making the atmosphere so legit and sort of hyped up as well. But I hope he doesn't think that Week 1 would be anything close to what.
I think it was more of like how the game ended, how the Bills won, the environment, and all that kind of stuff. He comes from the Chargers with not a lot of fans.
We see a lot. Yeah, true. They don't even have their home games. Aren't even home games. So we see all these guys come to the Bills and they say it's like a place they've never been before. And I think having this be your first game like that, it's just kind of like on steroids. So a lot of cool to see, and hopefully the momentum stays.
All right, my man Scott, take us through the Bills' defensive storylines here this week, and how do you think we're going to do?
Hopefully better. To start that off. But I have a hard time imagining them playing worse, up minus the last two drives there. But I said it earlier in the show, the Jets offense is very Ravensy. They have a quarterback who can run. They have a good running back in Breece Hall. I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, but he's good. They have a decent offensive line. I know they have some injuries there. They want to run the ball. They have a shifty outside receiver in Garrett Wilson, excuse me. Lance, we'll start with you because you've kind of gone last the whole time. what do you want to see different from the Bills defense this week? And what do you want to see them specifically do to slow down a very similar scheme to what they just played against?
Yeah, I want to see just some more sacks on the stat sheet from our edge rushers. Obviously, Bosa and Rousseau. I know they were close to Lamar last week, and Justin Fields is not Lamar Jackson. I know he has the tendencies, and he's quick and that sort of thing, but just not on the same caliber. Obviously, Breece Hall, a very good running back in his own right, but I don't think necessarily as powerful and as punishing as Derrick Henry can be. So hopefully the defensive ends can really dictate some more of the game this week, if that makes sense. And I think they will. And then I just want to see Ed Oliver follow up this performance last week and do it consistent. If he can do that again, that really is going to help slow down the Jets offense. Obviously, penetration up the middle anytime is going to really damage an offense. So I think that's what I'm looking for, is to really have the edges set the tone sort of this week, get on the stat sheet, give me a couple of sacks from them, and then have Ed Oliver be Ed Oliver again. Now, if he's hurt, that changes things, obviously, but I think that if he can go, I want to look for what he looks like after such a strong performance.
You guys mentioned the D-line. Obviously, the D-line needs to play better. They need to be more disruptive. To get Justin Fields out of his rhythm is massive, right? We saw the Steelers kind of get pressure on him at the end of the game. That kind of led to a couple bad throws, a couple indecisive plays. The Jets want to run the ball. They are going to run the ball, and they're not going to go away from running the ball unless the game gets completely out of hand and they need to score fast and a lot. So you always have to stop the run. You guys both mentioned that. It's a different type of running game. It's not that downhill, powerful running game. Breece Hall is a little more elusive, and then obviously you have to deal with Fields running. I'm interested to see what the secondary does. The secondary, to be fair, only gave up 209 yards to Lamar Jackson. That's not a crazy number in 2025 NFL football. He threw 19 times, 14 for 19, good completion percentage. That needs to be better. I think Christian Benford took a little while to get into that game. It felt like he started a little slow. I think as the game went on, he got much better. Obviously, had a great third down tackle to get the Bills the ball back, and they ended up winning the game on that field goal. Dorian Strong was up and down, but I thought he was solid. We'll see where Trey White is, obviously. What does Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop have in store for today? Because this Sunday, Cole Bishop was actually not that bad. He was fine. Taylor Rapp looked the worst I've seen Taylor Rapp since he became a Buffalo Bill, and it was very concerning because I'm not saying Taylor Rapp was ever considered an elite safety or even a great safety, but I always thought Taylor Rapp, when he was on the field and healthy, he was a good safety, and I never really had to worry about him making bad plays. He's not Kyle Hamilton, but he was never a liability. He was a liability on Sunday against the Ravens. He was taking bad routes to the balls, not making tackles. He looked like on that one Derrick Henry run when I thought the game was over after that run, he was nowhere to be found. He took a terrible
the worst
route.
Angle possible.
Yeah, it was like he's never played football before. It's a different type of running game that we're going to see on the Jets. It's a different type of passing game. If Taylor Rapp plays like the Taylor Rapp we've seen before, the Bills are fine. But I'm very curious to see what the secondary does against. Look, Justin Fields is not an elite passer. Steelers made him at times look really good last week. Maybe that's a question that Jalen Ramsey's probably and Darius Slay are probably a little bit past their prime. Ramsey was fine. Darius Slay's definitely past his prime. He's horrific at this point. Outside of Garrett Wilson, does anybody scare you on the Jets receiving course? It's not. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to.
I think you read the outline. That's the next sentence verbatim.
Dude, you stole our next segment. We didn't even get there yet. Nice job,
You
Peter.
did read it.
He's got the ESPN. Look at him.
But yeah, secondary is important, and obviously, who someone mentioned in the comments, linebacking play is important. I think it was a little bit of a mixed bag, mostly bad on Sunday from the Bills defense, but I think secondary is kind of a little critical here.
Yeah, you guys both went into D-line. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about the linebackers, so that's a perfect thing to bring up. So I think they might go some three linebacker. They didn't do, in running situations. I think it makes sense. But I will say, Taron Johnson can play the linebacker role a lot better against Breece Hall than he can Derrick Henry.
It's a different type of running game.
Right? Yeah, Taron Johnson is a great tackler for a nickel cornerback, but he's not tackling Derrick Henry like one-on-one. That's just a thing. So I don't know. I think they will go on 3 linebackers in some situations, but I think a lot less than they did against the Ravens.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're gonna incorporate that package. They want to get Dorian Williams some playing time, and for that fact alone, they're going to be putting some things out there, and they're not going to take Matt Milano off the field to do that. So Teron Johnson is going to need to be managed a little bit this year. You could see preseason game number 1 goes in there and immediately, concusses himself or gives himself something going on there with his head. So it's like, all right, let's protect Teron Johnson from himself as much as we can on early downs and leave him in there for the times when we really need him to be a factor. So,
yeah. And then Peter, literally anyone besides Garrett Wilson to worry about in the passing game. He stole the next one. So
no one.
I'm going to say Breece Hall because Breece Hall has had over 140 yards, all-purpose yards in every home game against the Bills that he's played. So I think it's only 2, but still has had over 140 scrimmage yards in the 2 games that the Bills have played in New Jersey. So I think you have to watch him as a weapon both in the run and the pass game.
Yeah, it's Breece Hall. I live 45 minutes from New York City, live in Westchester, New York. So I listen to a lot of sports radio here. It's Jets and Giants conversation.
Boomer and Carton?
Not Carton anymore. Boomer and Gio. Used to be Craig
Carton.
Carton. Then he did some things he's not supposed to do. The Jets, the main talking point is for the Jets conversation on the radio this year was, first, can Justin Fields actually throw a football? Well, he looked like he could throw a football in week 1. The second was, who the heck is going to catch a football outside of Garrett Wilson? And I still don't think we know who's going to catch a football. Like Alan Lazard, Mason Taylor's the rookie from LSU, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith.
I like Tyler Johnson at Minnesota.
He's fine, but
years ago.
We talk about the Bills receiving core like a lot. That's a huge hot topic. And Garrett Wilson's great. He would be the number 1 receiver in the Bills. Outside of Garrett Wilson, that's probably the worst receiving core I've ever seen in my life. It's and as soon as I say it, Tyler Johnson's going to drop 120 yards and 2 touchdowns on the Bills, so I probably should shut up. But yeah, outside, it's Breece Hall. And it's probably Mason Taylor. I don't think there's anyone else really that can make a big game time play. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But yeah, the Jets receiving core is nothing to write home about. Garrett Wilson's Garrett Wilson. That's a huge matchup for Christian Bedford on Sunday.
Yeah, it's hard to shut up when you're on a talk show, so I kind of need you to not shut up.
Well, would you rather the Bills win and me shut up, or me not shut up and the Bills lose? I think you'd rather the Bills win and me shut up.
For sure. Always Bills win.
Yeah.
And even Mason Taylor was limited today with an ankle. So, again,
is everyone in the? I think everyone's always limited.
Yeah, Reynolds was also listed as questionable for this, so hamstring injury, did not practice today, popped up with practice yesterday. So one of those guys that, you think any given game, he could be a factor sort of, but looks like he might be limited at best this week, or there's some precautions being taken with the Jets.
The Jets are like an old school football team. 2 tight ends, run the ball a lot, have 1 good receiver, and just
quarterback can't throw.
See what the heck can happen, I guess.
All right, and then last part. Oh, we can go into this too. Yeah, we hit on this a little bit. He's different than Derrick Henry, and it's a lot less physical than the Ravens' run game and Derrick Henry, which I think is good for us because our defense isn't necessarily built to be really physical and beat you up at the line of scrimmage. So I think Breece Hall is a better matchup than Derrick Henry, and even if he is healthy, Peter and Lance, you guys agree?
Yeah, it's a different matchup. Yeah,
for sure. I think again, if the interior can do what they did, especially out of Oliver, what they did last week, and then if we can get the edge setting that we need from Rousseau and Bosa and whomever else rotates in, Epinesa obviously, and Solomon, then we can slow them down. And then linebackers, we already talked about stepping up here and getting the right angles from our safeties to neutralize Breece Hall. Look, he's going to get his. He's had 104+ scrimmage yards in both of his starts in the Meadowlands. I expect him to be near that again, but if we can keep him under 150, I'll consider that a success for this week.
Yeah, and you got to remember as well, it wasn't required on Sunday, but the Ravens still used a fullback a lot. The Jets don't really do that, so you're not going to have a fullback going and blowing up our linebackers, which happened a lot. And like Terrell Bernard is really good; he's great in coverage, but he isn't undersized for a middle linebacker. So I think he's going to have a lot easier time against the Jets and the Ravens as well.
It's also easier to game plan for the Jets run game than the Ravens because Lamar is a way better passer than Fields.
Yeah, right.
Way better. So like the Bills obviously had the game plan for the Ravens running game. It's Derrick Henry and it's Lamar Jackson. But then you also like Lamar Jackson's a really good thrower of football. Like he's a really good NFL quarterback.
You can't just put 8 in the box and say throw it because
Fields
now he can.
Yeah, and look, the Ravens receiving core isn't great outside of Zay Flowers, as well as it's kind of similar to the Jets. It's a little better than obviously what the Jets have, but
better.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's deeper than the Jets, but it's nothing like to write home about. But the Lamar factor to the Justin Fields factor is the biggest difference in the run game. It's weird to talk about quarterbacks throwing the ball affecting the run game, but it does in this game because I think the Jets can not the Jets. I think the Bills can stack the box a little bit more against Breece Hall and make Justin Fields beat you.
Yeah. All right, then last thing before we give our predictions, talk about anything else we want to talk about. Bills gave up 40 points on Sunday. That's not great. The Jets are a much worse offense than the Ravens. So, Lance, what does success look like for you from the defense this week? Because even if they give up less than 40, that doesn't mean it was a successful day. So what does success look like for you from the Bills defense on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm looking for less than 20 against the Jets, really. I think that they should keep this game lower scoring. If they're going to score, that's fine. I expect that to continue with the offense, you'd hope. But again, we talked about how this defense does match up with our offense, typically a tough game. So if you can keep the Jets under 20 here, which I predict they will, we'll get to that in a few. And then I talked about getting Breece Hall and keeping him under a $150 all-purpose yards. I think that's a key there. Garrett Wilson can hurt you. I certainly think that they have the opportunity if Justin Fields has a good game in the air, but I don't think it's necessarily something I would like to, if that's the way they're going to win, then I'll tip my cap to them. I really want the Bills to make sure they zone in on keeping the running lanes closed and making sure they keep the rushing yardage to a minimum and basically control the game that way. If force some 3-and-outs. If the Jets are going to try to run past, then make sure that they're facing a lot of 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 6s, and that sort of thing, and not have a 5 or 6 yard per carry average from Breece Hall and Justin Fields.
Yeah, I would say force a couple turnovers. I know they forced one against Baltimore. They forced a fumble, but interception here or there would be great. Obviously, got to make it harder on Justin Fields. You got to get after him, like Lance said. You got a couple sacks is what you need to do. The biggest thing for me is obviously don't give up 40 points again. That would be a step in the right direction. You have to make the Jets work for points. Like the Ravens, outside of 3 drives, did not really have to work that hard. They did whatever they wanted, and they dictated the game for the most part. The Bills have to make the Jets work for points. And if they get into Bills territory, something that the Bills actually defense has been very good under Sean McDermott is holding teams to 3 points instead of 7 points. Because we've seen in the past, if you hold teams to 3 points against the Bills are going to win the game. So it's make it hard, make the drives tough, and if they get into 40 yards and closer, make them settle for a field goal. Make them keep them out of the end zone. But the biggest thing for me is if you get pressure on Justin Fields, keep him in the pocket, and doesn't even have to be. We always talk about sacks. It's pressure rate, because what happens after that pressure? Is it an interception? Does he throw it away? Is it a bad pass? Is it 3rd and 10 and he throws the ball at the guy's feet because Ed Oliver's in his face? That's as good as a sack. If you're forcing a punt, if it's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10, and it goes to 4th and 10 and 4th and 15, it's the same thing. It's a sack. You're forcing a punt. So I think the Bills have to get after Justin Fields and make it look a little hard for the other team's offense. Like that was so easy for Baltimore outside of a couple drives on Sunday. The Bills have to make it hard on the Jets. Just make it hard.
Yeah. I want to see them make the Jets one-dimensional, stop the run, make Justin Fields try to throw the ball, get them behind the sticks. Obviously helps if you get a lead, but we're talking about the defense. Make
That would
Justin
help
Fields
as
try
well.
to beat you with his arm. Yeah, make Justin Fields try to beat you with his arm because what he's shown and throughout his career in the NFL that he can't. And overall, just like I'm not going to go super statistical or anything, but just like pass the eye test. Like, does this defense, like exactly what Peter said, like, are they making it hard for them? With the Ravens, no. Zay Flowers is running open down the field. Derrick Henry sometimes wasn't even touched until he got to the second or third level or the end zone. He was touched by his teammates. Like, just make it difficult. Pass the eye test. Like, look like, you look like a good defense, which on paper they should be a good defense. And I want to see a little bit more from the young guys as well. This should be a game where the young guys can really get some more reps, hopefully, and then start to grow and start to show some flashes. So hoping to see a little bit more out of that. Just, I know it's kind of a not the best answer, but just overall look better.
Yeah.
But when you
An
give up
interception
40,
wouldn't be bad, and
yeah,
if Deion Walker can get in there and have a sack, I mean, even TJ Sanders, I guess I'm just less hopeful of that happening given his performance last week, but he has every opportunity. So
yeah, just overall look better.
It's also a tough week 1 performance for
Absolutely.
week 1 matchup for some of the newcomers like Dorian Strong,
yeah,
Deion Walker, Cole Bishop starting really for the first time as like the true starting safety. TJ Sanders, like it's not.
I don't know what a lot of people expected week 1. I mean, I guess for me, the expectation was for it to be a high-scoring, close game, and it just was. The Ravens got out to the lead and scored so much quicker than the Bills, but then it turned around and the Bills, turned the tide and they scored quickly to end the game and ended up obviously on top. But I think that it kind of went at the end sort of the way I expected, with a high scoring. I didn't expect either team to be very polished, and it took a while for the Bills to get in a rhythm after that first initial touchdown. I think that it was good to see, though, that the Bills did run the script in the first drive and score a touchdown. I think that that's one of the things that drives me absolutely bonkers about some of the games from the previous years and things, is that you come out with a script and you seemingly can't execute, and now you're sort of on the fly play calling from here on out after that first drive. And yeah, they have the situational plays and everything, so they have sort of down and distances scripted out in a nature. But I really think like the first drive is so intentional with what you want to try to accomplish that it's sort of troublesome to me when they can't really execute that first drive, especially at a high level. So I was glad to see that they did, and I hope they can continue that this week. So let's go into game predictions. Let's, if you want to give us a winner, a score, anybody in the comments, give us your score predictions. Let us know who you think wins. If you want to give a spread or any sort of prediction like that. Scott, we'll start with you. What's your game prediction for this week? Bills versus Jets.
Go Bills win 27-17. So I think that's the Bills covering. They're right around 6.5, and I believe that would be the under. So Bills in the under.
I'll actually be at the game, which will be fun. I got tickets last night, so I'll be at the game.
Sick invite.
Nice.
Thanks, Lance. You're welcome.
It's all right. It's my anniversary weekend, so I got to do non-football things this weekend.
You're not watching.
Luckily, it was an away game, It's great.
Are you watching
I'll watch
the game?
it. Yeah, I'm watching 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be at the game wearing my Bills jersey, and hopefully maybe a Jets fan will say something to me, and I'll say something back. But no, I think the Bills cover. I don't know what the over-under is off the top of my head. Scott, you probably know it off the top of your head.
I think it's 46.
Okay, so then
45.5.
Okay. I got Bills 31, Jets 20. So I think the Bills offense keeps humming. I think they score 30 plus, and I do think the Jets get into the 20s but stay at 20. So 31-20.
I can confirm Peter put that on social media before our show, so he stuck with it. So way to go, Peter, being consistent. Yeah. I'm going to go 24-13, low scoring, and taking the under as well. The Bills are going to execute what they need to execute, but I think they're not going to try to be a prolific, high-flying offense in this game. And I think they're going to try to control the clock, as we've already discussed throughout the show. So 24-13 Bills win for me this week in week 2, heading to 2-0, putting a division team to 0-2. Pretty important if if things go a certain way, you can see the Bills
Well-
at 2-0 and potentially the Ravens and Chiefs at 0-2 here at the end of week 2. I don't expect necessarily that the Ravens will lose, but the Chiefs have a really good opportunity to lose this week, and we'll see what happens from there.
There's also a chance because the Bills with the Jets, they're 0-2, and then the Dolphins and the Patriots play each other this weekend. So someone has to lose that game.
Yep.
So there's a chance there's 2 0-2 teams in the division really quickly. And also, I just realized the Bills play Thursday night next week. I don't know. Somehow I forgot about that, but
Yeah. Good segue, brother, because we'll be on potentially live Monday night this coming week. Since Thursday's the game, we're not going to get a chance to broadcast live next Thursday. We will be at the tailgate at the Big Tree Inn. If you guys want to come down and are going to the game, hit us up. We're right outside the 97 Rock tailgate and with a Monster Energy tent, slinging Monster Energies. We got some koozies, some different swag there. Come say hello. Maybe recording some predictions before the game, getting people's opinions before the game, and then we can do a little montage to post on social media, and we can tag you and whatnot, and you can trend on Twitter maybe. So if you say something cool enough, but yeah, come by and see. I'll be there. Scott's not going to be there for the next game next week, but catch us on the Triple Coverage podcast on Monday. Scott and I are definitely in for that. We may be joined by Dave Myers. We have yet to hear. Ben is at a Blink 182 concert tonight, so I hope he's having a great time, and we'll see what his availability is to make that happen next week for y'all, and hopefully continue to roll out our triple coverage team here and not have to get down to a double coverage sort of scheme on you to break down these Bills games. So anything else you want to say, Peter? Tell us where to find you on social media, anything you have coming up here. Pretty busy college Saturday for you, and what games you're going to be focused on, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at DiBiase Peter. That's where you can find all my stuff. Yeah, big busy Saturday college football. My game that I'm working on this week is not the biggest one, but it does involve the #1 team in the nation. So I got Ohio State at 7:00 on Peacock. So that's my game. Then we're also doing at NBC A&M Notre Dame in Townsend, Maryland, that no one cares about. But yeah, A&M Notre Dame Saturday night, Ohio State. But college football slate's great. But yeah, you just follow me at DiBiase Peter on Twitter. I still tweet about the Bills. I know I don't work with you guys anymore, but I still tweet about the Bills because it's fun tweeting about the Bills. That's all I got for you.
Awesome. And Scott's very interested in the Towson, Maryland game. He's got a lot of skin in it, I bet. So,
Well, it's like 15 minutes from my house, so
You should go.
absolutely.
no,
Scott, do you have anything?
far better games to watch from the couch. I think
There-
we have the biggest game in CW history this weekend with Miami USF.
Yep, massive one.
So I think it's going to come straight in from a One Tree Hill rerun.
Amazing. Any wagers you like either tonight or this weekend here, Scott? You have a betting article coming out at all this week, and what do you like there on the books?
We'll have a betting article coming out this week. Not sure yet because a lot of the lines aren't set and want to see officially who is playing and everything. I'm on the Packers tonight, -3, but so is all of America, which makes me very, very nervous. And then to give you one pick for this weekend in college football, narrow down to one, Clemson -3.5 at Georgia Tech. I know Clemson hasn't looked great the first 2 weeks, but I think they bounce back and take care of the Yellow Jackets.
Right on. I will take the over in the Colorado-Houston game because that's the first game I just saw when I looked at the lines in college, and I was not prepared to give a pick. So that's my impromptu college football pick, over 44.5, Colorado-Houston. I'm an overs guy. Life's too short to bet the under, and that strategy has not paid off a ton, but keep rolling with it. So scared money don't make money, right? Right, Scott? So I guess I'm not scared.
Smart
but
money
I'm
does,
also,
though.
there you go. So, all right, guys, that'll do it for us. Again, Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo. Thanks to 716 Barbershop in Depew, New York. Dennis and Matt over there. Book your haircut on the Cut app with them, and you can find the link on our show preview here on the Built in Buffalo social media accounts, Facebook or X. And that'll do it for the Triple Coverage Podcast. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.